Hey and good evening. Tonight we're sliding right out into the dust-scented streets of vintage Rome. The lamps are still flickering. The city smells like bread and like sweat and like incense, and your sandals stick a little on stones damp with last night's rain. You're not a tourist. You're there, present tense, and in your coarse cloak at dawn on the 7 hills. The city hums behind you, and before you is a colossal oval of stone and marble that appears to breathe like an animal gargantuan as well. You probably won't survive this. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Comment your location, plus your local time below. I love seeing where you're all listening from. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wander closer to the arena's outer walls. Each archway is tall enough for 3 carts to roll through side by side. Marble plaques carved with Latin names shimmer in the early sun. The Colosseum is still new enough that the travertine looks pale gold. Scaffolding creaks as masons add more statues of gods and emperors. The smell of animals, lions, bears, even crocodiles shipped from the Nile, drifts through hidden grates. The hum of thousands of voices is already rising, although the games are hours away. You're herded with others through a narrow gate into the Gladiators' barracks. The corridor smells of oil, metal, and boiled lentils. You feel the uneven stones under your feet. A boy no older than 15 runs past carrying a wooden sword twice his size. Above you, painted frescoes show heroes of old battles, but their eyes have been gouged out by bored recruits. This is not a heroic arrival. You're not a guest. You're property. Your wrist still bears the ink of the auction house where a lanista bought you 2 days ago. Scholars still argue whether all gladiators were slaves or if some volunteered. But right now that debate feels like a joke. Your stomach is empty, your throat dry, and the sound of iron gates closing behind you echoes like a sentence being passed. A veteran gladiator, his arm a patchwork of scars, his hair cropped short, eyes you with a mixture of pity and appraisal. "New meat," he mutters in rough Latin, and the others laugh, the sound low and mean. You think about the quirky detail you heard back at the marketplace, that sometimes trainers used olive oil mixed with crushed rose petals to mask the smell of blood on weapons. You can almost smell that strange sweetness now, clinging to the corridor like a bad perfume. A horn blares. Doors swing open into the practice yard. Sunlight knifes across the sand. Wooden weapons line the wall, shields painted with faded designs from faraway provinces. You take a step forward, feeling the grit under your toes, and realize this is where your old life ends. The arena towers above you like a stone sky, and beyond it, the city keeps breathing, indifferent. You keep moving because everyone else does, because stopping would mark you out as prey. You look up at the stands, empty now, but you can almost hear the future roar, smell the sweat of the crowd, the wine splashing from cups as bets are made. Somewhere up there an emperor will one day nod or turn his thumb. Somewhere in these stones the story of your life will be carved. Not by you, but by the clash of steel and the whims of strangers. The veteran shoves a wooden sword into your hands. "Hold it like you want to live," he says. And then he walks away, leaving you to find your balance under the pale Roman sun. You slip into the training grounds with other desperate fighters. The moment the heavy wooden door closes behind you, the air changes, drier, hotter, already tasting of dust and metal. The yard is a rectangle cut into the heart of the barracks, sun pouring in like molten gold, shadows stretching long along the practice posts. Around you shuffle men of every skin tone and accent, Gauls with braided hair, dark-skinned Numidians, pale Thracians, a few Romans fallen from grace. Some stare at the ground, some stare at you. All are caught in the same invisible net. You're pushed toward a rack of practice weapons. Wooden swords, heavier than they look, hang in neat rows, their handles worn smooth by hundreds of terrified hands. A trainer with a crooked nose and a voice like a whip barks instructions. He doesn't call anyone by name, only by number. You are now number 27. It sounds more like a tool than a person. The yard smells of oil and sweat. Training dummies stuffed with straw stand at intervals, patched and stitched like veterans of their own wars. You see a boy barely old enough to shave being fitted with a helmet too large for his head. His eyes are wide, darting to the high wall as if he could leap over it. One man coughs blood quietly into his fist and keeps swinging his wooden sword. Nobody stops him. You take your first step into the sand. It shifts under your feet, heavy and soft at the same time. Your heartbeat pounds in your temples. Somewhere above, a bird lands on the edge of the roof, tilts its head, and flies away. The sky is a brilliant Roman blue, indifferent to everything below. The trainer snaps his whip against a post. "Form pairs," he shouts. You're shoved toward a Thracian with scars across his jaw. He doesn't smile. He raises his practice blade and nods once. No introduction, just a signal. You raise yours, feeling the weight pull at your wrist. When the clash comes, it's like striking a tree. The wood vibrates. Your arms ache instantly. He moves quickly, testing you, feinting low, then high. You try to copy what you saw the veterans do, knees bent, shoulders low. He hits your side anyway, a dull thud that steals your breath. He could have gone harder. You can tell he's holding back. Around you, the yard is a storm of grunts and impacts. Dust rises. Sunlight turns it into a golden haze. You cough, eyes watering, but you keep moving. The trainer walks among the pairs, muttering insults, correcting stances, sometimes cracking the whip against someone's calf. He stops near you, tilts your blade upright, smacks your elbow with his stick. "Keep it tight, or you're dead," he says in rough Latin. Then he moves on. Scholars still argue whether gladiator schools were pure prisons or more like elite sports academies. But inside this yard, that debate is meaningless. You feel the eyes of guards on the walls, their spears angled downward. You catch the glint of a key ring at one man's belt. Freedom is a sound you can't quite imagine anymore. A quirky detail floats through your mind. You once heard that some trainers named their practice posts after famous victims. "Hit Julius, hit Marcus," they would shout. You look at the dummy nearest you. Someone has carved a crude smiley face into its burlap stomach. It makes the whole scene more absurd, more chilling. The sun climbs higher. Sweat runs down your spine, sticks your tunic to your skin. Your partner lands another blow. You stumble, plant your foot, swing back. The wooden blade connects with his shoulder. A satisfying crack. He grunts approval. It's the first kindness you've felt since arriving. Hours pass, measured only by the ringing of a bell. At last, the trainer calls a halt. You're herded toward a trough of water. Everyone drinks fast, scooping with hands, not caring who else has dipped in. Your arms tremble, your chest heaves, but a strange heat flickers in you, half exhaustion, half. The Thracian nods again, this time almost a smile. Above, the bird returns to the roof. It pecks at something, then flits away. You watch it go, the only free thing in sight, and wonder if you'll still be alive tomorrow to notice it again. You're back on the sand before the sun has even burned the mist off the rooftops. The trainer's whistle shrieks and your stomach clenches. Today, the real drills begin. The ones meant to turn bodies into weapons and wills into obedience. You stand in a line with 20 other fighters, wooden swords at your sides, breath fogging in the cool dawn air. The sand is damp under your toes. A crow lands on a post, caws once, and watches like an omen. The trainer starts you with footwork. Step forward, pivot, crouch, spring. Over and over, the same patterns until your calves quiver. He paces like a wolf, barking commands. You move too slow, you die. You move too fast, you die tired. You glance at the Thracian beside you. His scars glisten with sweat, but his face stays blank, as if he's somewhere else entirely. He catches your eye and flicks his chin, a silent reminder to keep your focus. You lunge at a straw dummy. The wood of your blade jars your shoulder. You're supposed to keep your shield high, but your arm drops from fatigue. The trainer's whip cracks near your ear. The sound alone makes you jolt upright. Again, he shouts. This time you live. By mid-morning, the drills shift. You're fitted with a helmet so heavy it feels like a bucket of stones. You can see only a narrow slice of the yard now. Your own breath echoes back at you, hot and stale. You swing, block, pivot, repeat. The helmet slides forward, blinding you for a heartbeat. And in that instant, the Thracian's wooden sword smacks your ribs. Pain flares. You grunt, step back, and reset. Scholars still argue whether gladiator training was harsher than legion training. But to you it feels like punishment, layered on punishment. The guards on the walls lean on their spears, amused, while your arms go numb. You think of the quirky detail a kitchen slave whispered last night. Trainers sometimes made fighters practice with weapons twice as heavy as the real ones, so the arena would feel like air. You're not sure you'll survive long enough to test that claim. The drills get stranger. You're ordered to run laps carrying sandbags on your shoulders. Then you crawl under a wooden frame spiked with nails just low enough to scrape your back if you lift your head. Dust fills your mouth. Grit grinds in your teeth. You emerge coughing, blinking at the sun. The trainer's voice cuts through the ringing in your ears. Again! The word feels like a hammer. Hours stretch into a blur. You lose track of how many times you've swung the sword, how many times you've fallen and gotten up. Your muscles ache in places you didn't know existed. Yet somewhere beneath the exhaustion, a rhythm takes hold. Step, pivot, block, thrust. The same motions repeated until they feel like breathing. You glimpse the Thracian again, his movements sharper now, less hesitant. He nods just once, a silent acknowledgement. You're learning. Water breaks are brief. The trough tastes of iron and algae. You scoop a handful, swallow, and the world steadies for a moment. You hear distant city noises, the clatter of carts, the call of vendors, life going on beyond the barracks walls. You wonder if anyone out there knows your name or cares. Then comes the final drill of the day, a mock bout in full gear. The trainer throws you a padded shield. The Thracian raises his blade. Around you, other pairs square off, sand shifting under their feet. The horn sounds. He lunges, you parry. Your shield jolts against your arm. He feints, you step back. He presses forward. The fight is a dance of wooden impacts and grunts, dust rising in golden clouds. You land a strike on his thigh. He grins through his helmet. It's the first time you've felt a spark of control since arriving. When the horn finally blows again, you're shaking. Tattoos, brands, and stage names erase your old identity. You're marched with a handful of other recruits into a low, torch-lit chamber beneath the barracks. The walls are plastered with names carved by previous fighters. Marcus, Phorbus, the Red Wolf, Stormhand. Some are Latin, some Greek, some just symbols. The air smells of ink, sweat, and a faint tang of burned hair. A slave with a bowl of black pigment sits at a table, his eyes dull from routine. You're told to strip to the waist. The lanista enters, a tall man with rings on every finger and a short whip at his belt. He walks down the line slowly, appraising each body as though choosing cuts of meat. When he stops at you, he tilts your chin up, nods once, and says a name you've never heard before. You are now Corvus, he declares, the Latin word for crow. He gestures toward the door. Get it marked. A chair scrapes the stone floor. You sit, fists clenched on your knees. The slave dips a sharp needle into the ink and begins pricking your skin just above the left collarbone. The pain is sharp, but not unbearable, like dozens of tiny bee stings. The ink seeps in, forming letters you can't see but feel. With every prick, another fragment of your old self fades. You focus on the flicker of the torchlight, the crackle of resin, the way your own breath echoes in this narrow room. A veteran nearby shows his shoulder, a brand shaped like a thunderbolt. Got this after my first win, he mutters. Stage name's Fullman. You don't get to choose. He taps his temple. Only thing still mine is up here. Then he chuckles, but it's not a happy sound. Scholars still argue whether all gladiators were branded like cattle or only some. But for you, the debate is academic. The needle scratches, the ink sinks, and the name Corvus becomes part of your skin. When the slave finishes, he smears olive oil over the fresh mark and hands you a rag. Keep it clean, he says flatly, or it festers. Next comes costume. You're led to a storeroom hung with racks of gear, helmets with crests shaped like fish, curved Thracian swords, net and trident sets for the retiarius fighters. You're handed a simple tunic dyed dull brown and a wooden tag with your new name scratched into it. Wear it, the guard says. Learn it. You slip the tunic over your head. It smells of smoke and other men's sweat. The fabric hangs differently than your old clothes, heavier, rougher, like a shroud. Then you're brought to the training yard again, but everything feels shifted. The trainer calls out names now, not numbers. Full men. Lupus. Corvus. Each one sounds like an echo from a storybook. When he calls yours, you step forward automatically. You realize you've already begun answering to it. The Thracian, now revealed as Draco, claps you on the back. Better than being called meat, he says. His grin shows a missing tooth. You both laugh, a thin, nervous sound, but laughter all the same. Around you, the other fighters adjust their helmets, test their shields, mutter their new names under their breath like charms. A quirky detail drifts into your head. You once heard that some star gladiators wore specially designed crests so the crowd could spot them instantly, Bright feathers, animal motifs, even little bells sewn into leather straps. The thought seems absurd, like dressing up death for a parade. Yet as you watch a veteran strap on a crimson-plumed helmet, you feel a flicker of understanding. If you must fight, at least you can be seen. Night falls. You sit on your bunk, fingering the edge of your new tunic, feeling the sting of fresh ink on your skin. In the dimness of the barracks, voices rise and fall like a low tide. Men reciting prayers, muttering in their sleep, sharpening weapons that aren't yet theirs. You stare at the ceiling beams. Somewhere above, the city sleeps under stars, names intact, faces unmarked. Down here, you're Corvus now, and the arena is waiting.